is your life, so always be strong. Keep moving on. Your dreams will always come true. You'll get there if you believe. So rise up and be strong. Hold on and take your place. So rise up and be strong. Hold on and take your place. You're listening to Pastor Lanre Ajanaku.
We all should have had plans for the year 2018, for the year in which we are now. Now, we may have those plans, but what are the three pillars, the three things that we must consistently do to actualize this plan? What are the three things? Number one, you have to focus on it. It is not enough to write those plans down. You have to focus on that plan. Don't just write them and file them off. No. Haven't written them down. We all have to put it somewhere where we can really focus on it. We have to be compelled to pursue it. Focus on what you have planned. Do your plan, and then now the second thing is work your plan. A lot of us plan, but we don't work our plan. It is focus that helps you and I to work our plan to ensure that we get it right. Be focused and be clear in what you want. Whatever your mind cannot hold, your hand cannot handle it. Whatever your mind cannot hold, whatever your mind cannot hold, your hand cannot handle. So before your hand can handle anything, your mind must first and foremost be able to grab it. And that is the truth. So be focused, be clear. Your body and your mind must go after it. Have your plan, work your plan. Don't leave those plans out, or else you will come back at the end of the year and you will come back to say, oh, it's a New Year resolution. How many has happened? Tick, 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 tick. 1, 2, 3. I have about 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is happened. Okay, 5 is okay. At least some didn't even have anything. No. You can actually be who you want to be. You can actually achieve what you want to achieve. So work your plan. Put your body, flog your body after it. Put your mind with it. Be obsessed with it. Be obsessed with it. Be obsessed with the plan. Drink it. Smell it. Eat it. Pursue it. Number 2 is that you have to get the best information to execute your plan. Get the best information. Get the best tool. What could be the tool? What could be the tool? Possibly you may need to get a mentor. You may need to get a mentor. Now when we talk of mentorship, a lot of people would look at having mentors that are very busy. For you to get a mentor in the phase of life or in that area that you want to achieve something on, you need a level. You need somebody who is going ahead of you. Somebody who is an expert. Somebody who is gotten there. For you to get such people may be very difficult. Let's tell ourselves the truth. So, when we talk of mentorship, we must be willing to invest in ourselves. We must be willing to invest also in possibly the internet. Now, it will amaze you to know that whatever you need a mentor to get to for you, a particular mentor, that particular mentor would have discussed that issue possibly in one occasion or the other. Why don't you just go into the internet and get that person? And a lot of people would say, I want this person to be my mentor. But that person, is also very busy. You may not have the opportunity of getting that to track that person down. So what do you do? Get his books. Get into the internet. Or if it's someone that is staying close to you, observing. Look at what things he is doing and what thing he has done in time past. Or possibly have a map. Have a map. There is nothing that is new under the heavens. There is nothing that you want to do that somebody hasn't done before. All it takes you to do is to go and find out. And why is it? Why it's not compulsory you have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is always a wheel. So why don't you go? People say experience is the best teacher. But I tell you, it did not be your own experience. If I've gotten somebody who has one time or the other walked on the path and he stumbled and fall, must I also go in that path and stumble and fall? No. I can pick from him. I can learn a lesson from him. I can devise something from that person. Okay, he's gone through this path before, he stumbled and he's falling. So I can learn from him. When I also get to that crossroad, I make sure I don't make the same mistakes that he has made. So experience is the best teacher, it's been said, but I tell you, it need not be your own experience. You can get mentorship. And then lastly, in achieving whatever in achieving your plans, is you must resolve your inner conflict. You must resolve your inner conflict. Now, I said earlier, you can be who you want to be. But you know the challenging thing is that many times, many of us do not have enough stamina within to be able to run and achieve what we want to achieve. Why? Because we are too distracted. We are too distracted. Many of us are not willing to pay the price. Now, or many people are not willing to bear the cost. To an accountant, cost is your variable and your fixed. Your cost of an item is all what it took you to be able to manufacture it and put it out there, which is your variable cost, your fixed cost, and every other thing. Put them together. Okay, I got the material for these. I got people who worked on it. I paid them this salary. For the house that I used, or the warehouse, or the industry that we use, those are fixed costs. The variable costs are there, and all. Now, when you an accountant put all these things together, they tell you it's a cost. Now, they will say, now, what is the selling price? The selling price is that which has to do with your profit. By the time you take out your cost from your selling price, what you have is your profit. And that is what an accountant looks at. But as an economist will tell you cost is not that very thing. Cost simply means alternative forgone. What it costed you, what it cost you to be here, is the alternative that you have forgone. Possibly you could be on your couch watching the movies. So what is costing you as an economist is the alternative that you have forgone. And that is where we have to look at our inner conflict. Many of us want to have some definite things, but we are not ready to allow the alternative to be forgone. We are not willing. We want to eat our cake and have it. And it's not possible. You can't eat your cake and have it. Once you have eaten your cake, it's where now? It's right in your tummy. You can't have it again. So there must be an alternative forgone. There is a pleasure that comes with, there is a pleasure and pains that comes with things. And you can decide to use them to your advantage. You can actually you can transfer your pains to a result. Pains are not to be wasted. I remember the woman the story of the woman that started this organization called MAD, against drunk driving. You know, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And this one, what prompted her to start this organization, to start a crusade against drunk driving, was what happened to her parents. A child was going out one day and a drunk driver ran into the child and killed the child. And several times she would go to, according to the story I had, she would go to her room, to the child's room, look at all the toys of this child, look at all the things, and she would cry and sob. So one day she made up her mind, I want to transform these pains into a result. And she started this crusade, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And today it's all over the world, canvassing and campaigning against drunk driving. Do you know what? She has brought out a profit, something that is tangible from that pains. Am I right? Yes. But she could as well just sit back and say, lost the child. I lost the child. But will that bring back the child? No. Nobody plans for such. We're not advocating for such. But if it does happen, then you can bring something out of your pains. So the same way you can bring pains out of your pains, you can bring pleasure, things out of your pleasure as well. In fact, it has been proven that everybody, even including a newborn baby, moves away from pains. Everybody moves away from pains. Everybody. So when you see a wildfire burning, even animals, when they see the pains of fire, they move away from the heat because everybody moves away from pain. So pain has an advantage. Pain has a lesson. But it becomes a crime when you don't allow your pains to be transformed to something that is productive. That is when it becomes wrong. So we must be able to look at the alternative for God. Get the best tool. I mean, resolve the conflict within you. You have to make up your mind. You have to believe that you can achieve it. To achieve it may bring you a little bit of pains. It may bring you at times pleasure. But you know what? You just have to. You have to have an alternative for God. There must be an alternative for God. You have to take it step by step. You have to make up your mind. There are many times things that have happened to us in time past have affected people. They say, oh, my past. The guilt of the past at times does not allow people to move on in life. The guilt of the past. Oh, I tried to do this business, but it failed. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do business again. And everybody talks about business. Say, oh, forget it. Business, forget it. I'm not into business. No, that's not it. We must not allow the past to hold us back. I said it times here before, our past should be frozen. The past should be frozen. You must not be able to bring anything from your past. Anything that you have to bring from your past must be that which should present to you a pleasure that will make you to do more. Your past is frozen. Freeze it off. Even if you have had a broken marriage, freeze it off. Don't let the broken marriage speak into your future. Even if you have lost a child before, you have lost a loved one before, don't allow it to hold you. Don't allow the past to hold you. Break away from the past. These are the inner conflicts that does not allow many people to achieve what they desire to achieve. Inner conflict. We have to break away from this inner conflict and we have to put them behind us. And what is the solution to inner conflict? You have to sort them out. You have to calm down and ask yourself. And you know, I normally tell people, many people think that they can think while they are doing it on their head. No. The best form of thinking is to write it down. Write down your thoughts. Write down your processes. Write down, okay, I am not having this adequate result I desire to have. What is the challenge? Write them down. Now, many times when you write them down, and then you will not realize that, hey, it's not as bad as I thought it was. But while you are still processing it and thinking it, the mind works on you, the mind plays tricks on you, it blows it up, and blows it out beyond proportion. And you think it's just too hard, it's too much. But you have to, once you write it down, you've put it down, you look at it, and then you begin to resolve them. You begin to resolve them, one after the other. I was talking with somebody some time ago, and she said she's always been having a fear. And what is that fear? So when that fear comes on her, okay, she wasn't yet, she's not yet married, and she desired to have a child, to have children when she's married. And you know the amazing thing, even before she got married, she's already thinking and being afraid that when she gets married, she will not have a child. And I asked her the question, have you gone through any medical procedure that indicates or showed that when you marry, you will not have a child? She said no. Okay. Have you ever tried to get pregnant and you did not get it? She said no. So why is that fear there? And those are the things of it. You know what happened? She will actually have been listening to negative things. She surrounded herself, she's kept to her mind people who were married and did not quickly conceive children. And I asked her, the number of people who have been married and have children, they are much more than the number of people who are married and they have children. She said yes. So why don't you focus on that instead of having to focus on this other side? Until our focus was changed, that was when she was able to get rid of those fears. So there are times you need to sort those things out. You need to sort them out. And you know, the amazing thing is that what you focus on is what plays out in our lives. Let's say, for example, you go to a party. You go to a party, and then you go to that party, and everybody's having a great time at the party, loud music. In that party, some are dancing, some are drinking, possibly some are kissing each other, some are holding each other, some are seated down in one place, just sitting down boring. Now, when you enter that party, it is what you focus on that eventually define the party to you. If you sit down with people who are boring, who are just looking, possibly did not come with their partner, and you begin to talk and say, oh, these guys are boring, and you eventually left that party that way. When you get home and your friends ask you, how was the party? What would you tell them?
Boring.
Oh, it was a boring party. It was just a boring party. It's just boring. Now, assuming you got there and you moved among the people who were hype and jumping, dancing and moving, then when you get home and somebody asks you, how was the party? Oh, it was full of life. Why? Because of where you focused on. So there are varieties in life all around, but now depends on what you decide to focus on. Your focus is now eventually what determines the conclusion of your party. And that's the way it is. What you focus on is what eventually plays out. If you have pains and you focus on it regularly, you will realize that pains will magnify itself.
Yeah.
If you have pains and you continue to focus on that pain begins to grow. And if you also have pleasure and you focus on the pleasure, it also begins to magnify itself and you have better and better feelings as you think about it. So, it is you who determines where you get to by the power of focus. It's you. It depends on what you focus on. It's you. Is it possible? And that tells me one thing, that it is possible to have a good family, it is possible to have your bills paid, it is possible to have a good life, and yet commit suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You know, when I was waiting and I was praying, and I was asking myself, money, what can money do? Money can make you happy. It's true, money can make you happy. I have tried it several times. I've tried the social experiment even on my wife. I gave her good money, and she told me, whoa! And I realized her countenance changed. And she's so happy. Don't look at my wife like that. When you have a pay raise, don't you get happy? Or you just have a big bank? Money actually can make you happy. Money does make people happy. But I have seen a lot of people who are very rich and yet commit suicide. You know, I had to go in a little bit to study, just to find out. Okay, can you be so rich and yet commit suicide? So I went and I began to study and I found lots of people who are very rich and yet commit suicide. Some because they couldn't handle failure. They couldn't handle failure. They got to the peak, and possibly one of them that I looked at got to the peak of wealth, was so rich, and at the point the bubble busted and the company began to go down. And the next day he went to the top of his house and on top of his office, his skyscraper, and he just took a lift without a parachute. And the force of gravity took place and he got to the ground and off he went. There was another person, very, very rich, who had lived his life with his wife, and the wife had cancer, and it was clear that she was going to pass on. And he just couldn't live life without his wife. So they decided to poison themselves, make it quick. And for several reasons, many, many reasons. So it is possible to have all the pleasures of life. If your focus is not right, you could take a wrong decision.
That's right.
You could take a wrong decision. You could take a wrong decision. In that, over time, you know, not to take anything away from the developing world, people who are living in the developing world, when they look at people who are in the developed world and they see them committing suicide, or they say they are depressed, they look at them and say, what's your problem? They ask them and say, what's their problem, really? What's their problem? I mean, you have constant flow of power. I mean, you have good roads, you have food, and here you are talking of killing yourself, and you are running to depression. They can't understand it. But you know, at the point you will realize that life is much more than that. It is your focus. You could be in the midst of abundance and yet you could be in the midst of plenty and yet be complaining of scarcity. You could be in the midst of water and yet still be complaining of thirst, depending on your focus. And that is the truth. Your focus is what makes the difference. You could be in the midst of scarcity of famine, and yet you are still happy. Why? By focusing on on so many other things. So what are the things that should take our focus? Many times, our focus also reveals to us our prayers. You know, when you listen to somebody pray, check him very well, or very well. Check out. Everybody's prayer is as a result of where your focus is. Yes, that's the truth. And that is why I always suggest and I tell people that, look, because our God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think, why don't you pray from the positive aspect of life? And I normally use this example. I tell people, get your focus right. For example, if you go to a restaurant and you sit down, the waiter comes to you and he gives you the list of food. And you look at the list of food and you begin to tell the waiter, I don't want pizza. I don't want plantain. I don't want this. And the list of the I don't want. Have you placed an order?
No.
Have you placed the order? No. The waiter keeps waiting on you until you tell the waiter, I want this. Then he writes them down. I want this, write them. That's exactly how prayer is. A lot of people, we focus on the negative. Oh, I don't want to be sick. Okay, if you don't want to be sick, you're focusing on sickness. Why don't you look at it the other way around? And just tell exactly what you want. And what is what you want? I want health. Stop praying, I don't want to be poor. Don't speak riches. Because angels listen to those things that you say that proceeds from your mouth. So if you keep telling angels what you don't want, oh yes, you won't have them, but you have to tell them what you want. And that's how it is. And that is how God created the universe. And it will amaze many people to know that a lot of people who don't even understand the scripture, who possibly don't, they operate this principle and they get their results. Because that is the way God has wired all things, the principles. So it is very important that even when you are talking to God or when you are talking to your friends, you must be able to say exactly what you want. You have to say what you want. You must be able to say what you want. You can't go for an interview or possibly you're in presence of somebody who could turn your life around and it asks you, what exactly do you want? And you are telling him what you don't want. You have not said anything. You must be able to say exactly what you want.
Take dominion on all God's creations. Never give up. Your destiny's your life. So always be strong. Keep moving on. Your dreams will always come true. You'll get there if you believe. So rise up and be strong. Hold on and take your place. So rise up and be strong. Hold on and take your place. You're listening to Pastor Lanre Ajanaku